I find it useful to think about inclusion as a series of stages, 3 stages really. The first stage is being present, getting the children into the school, and that clearly is a stage that here in this region you've achieved to a large extent. But clearly children can be present and ignored or overlooked. So the next stage is when children are actually present and participate, where they're seen to have something to contribute, where they're welcomed, where their voice is heard in that respect. Now that's a much more challenging stage in that respect. So I'm suggesting presence is the first step, a level of participation, but the ultimate goal really is achievement. You know, the children are present, they participate, and they are learning things which are going to be useful to them in that respect. Now, the further you go up those stages, the more challenging it is of the status quo, really. Getting children into schools probably requires additional support so that the teachers in the school will welcome the children. But getting children to participate really requires changes of attitudes, changes of policy, and changes of practice. So it's much more challenging. And then helping all children to achieve certainly requires the changes in the curriculum and the changes in the support for teachers and so on, really. It seems to me that you are at that stage of getting more participation and hopefully more learning, more achievement. Ultimately, the most important factor in all of this is the teacher in the classroom. We can have good national policies, but the policy that matters most is the one that the teacher has when she goes into the classroom and closes the door. So in order to make progress in terms of participation and learning, we have to support teachers. So that has implications for the initial training of teachers, but it also has implications for the continuing support of teachers. What we know from the research is that in schools that are driven by a commitment to inclusion, there is a strong emphasis on supporting teachers. It's a particular kind of support that's needed. Too often it is interpreted as being sending teachers on courses to learn new techniques. I'm not opposed to that, but it's actually peripheral. What the research points to is the need for a much more sophisticated form of teacher development. And it has to be located in the school and to some extent in the classroom. We can learn quite a lot about this from the experience of Japan. In Japan they have a tradition whereby teachers are expected to join what are called lesson study groups. This involves groups of teachers planning lessons together in order to take account of the needs of every child. They plan together, sharing their expertise and their ideas. What then happens is each teacher teaches the lesson with the other members of the group observing the lesson. The observers concentrate on looking at the reactions of the children to the lesson. After the lesson, the teachers meet and discuss the lesson, and then they change their plan before the next teacher teaches the same lesson with another group of children. In between each lesson, the group are thinking about what else can we do to include every child. What we're talking about is a fundamental rethinking of the task. The traditions of special education continue to create barriers to progress. I mean, that's why I'm saying to you, you need to find examples of good practice here and to use those to stimulate debate in the system, I think. Well, what follows from what I've said is we need to do research about what can help teachers and support teachers in making their lessons more inclusive. And what follows from that is the people who should be doing research should be teachers themselves. And so people like me working in universities have to create a different kind of relationship with the system, where instead of doing research on schools, we should be doing school research with schools.
Mel Ainscow, researcher at the University of Manchester, is an advocate of this kind of teaching. He plays a large part in the development of the curriculum at this primary school.
What we see in a school like this is a strong emphasis on people working together. Teachers working with teachers and support staff, schools working with communities and parents, the involvement of other services, and critically, the importance of child-to-child support.
Students helping each other. In this school, there is a fundamental emphasis on working and learning in a team. Here, the students are from highly varied social backgrounds and come from over 30 different countries. Furthermore, at St. Paul's, all religions are taught. This doesn't prevent the students from working in teams. In this maths class, for example, the children work in real partnership, but the one who is more advanced takes the place of the teacher. The results are remarkable.
The result is twofold. Obviously, the one child is learning in a more intimate way than in a large group, but also it's good for the confidence of the child who's taking the role of the teacher.
When I'm older, I want to help children with disabilities and stuff, because you learn about them, not just about yourself as well.
Similarly, I think for the receiving school, the benefits are there for all pupils. It's not just for the individual children with needs. I kind of think what happens is that the children become much more accepting of difference, and it becomes part of the norm, so that they don't notice the difference, because that acceptance of difference is just part of the culture of the school.
Accepting differences is about learning to listen to others. Here at St. Paul's, student councils are organised. Each of the students gives their opinion on the concrete problems of life at the school. Today, the problem is bullying.
So we have one about standing about bullies. So now our school council will discuss how to make an expanse on standing up to bullies. So have you any ideas? Yeah.
So maybe we have a few teachers around, because then when we have a teacher in every area, so they can come and have a look around the area to see if there's any bullying.
Can we have a bully stop, where there's a table with when stress balls, so when they get angry they can just come and squeeze them with a few teachers there to make sure no one messes around with them.
We could have a bench with the play pals that we're gonna have. And say if someone sat there, they could try and cheer him up, and one of the play pals might go and play with him if they got no one to play with.
That's a very good point. Yeah, we could do.
Basically, you're all different, but you're all special in your own way.
Afin de faire progresser ce domaine, nous avons besoin des éléments suivants. Une réflexion sur la conception élargie de l'éducation pour l'inclusion, conduisant à des sociétés inclusives. Promouvoir la tolérance et inciter à la prise de conscience.